And now, live from the Man Cave, Studio B, deep in the heart of constitutional Livingston County, Michigan, this is a special Sunday night casual conversation with our special guest, Anthony Hudson, candidate for U.S. Congress in District Number 8, right here in beautiful Michigan. And yours truly, Larry Parsons, our ever-present earwig, the real Tim Allan behind the scene making all the magic work. This is my brain. And now, your host, the man that put it all together, just so we can take it apart, Jeremy Scott Gibbs.
All right, we're live. Welcome, Anthony.
Hey, thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to it.
If I slip into Tony, just tell me to stop it.
Maybe. We'll see.
I told him, I said, I looked at it and I went, Anthony. And all I could think of was Sopranos. It's like, Anthony?
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Does everybody call you Anthony? Does anybody call you Tony?
My friends call me Tony. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stick with Anthony then.
Yeah. Maybe by the end of the show, you can call me Tony.
Yeah, you tell us when we get permission. We'll work off of that. Welcome, everybody. We've got a bunch of people already in chat. Good deal. Coffee's sending us the Z's. Really? I see how you are, Coffee.
Yeah, we're mad. I'm mad at Coffee. He didn't bring us any cheesy balls.
No
today.
cheesy balls tonight.
No coconut cheesy shrimpy
Special
balls.
guest and no cheesy balls. Or
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed. All right, welcome everybody out there. It is a Sunday night. Anthony Hudson. You've got a limited time with us, so we're gonna dive right in. We got to do our disclaimer first, just so people know, because had people tune into last Sundays when the Super Bowl was going on,
Yeah.
and they were like, "I thought this was going to be a good interview, and it was just a frat boys with a bunch of drinking and cussing." And I was like, apparently you didn't see the disclaimer at the beginning of the show where we told you
we're like
what was going to happen.
Well, the theme of the show is we're just a bunch of friends that get together, talk about the issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Anyways,
sometimes open a can,
yeah.
Well, anyways, I'm
yeah.
prepared tonight. I have got this
Nice,
cherry
tasty
Dr.
beverage.
Pepper.
I got my water.
Yeah.
And I
Good
got
to go.
well, adult beverage. Speaking of adult beverages,
Mm.
that is part of the disclaimer. You can throw that up.
Oh, it's tasty. Yes, sir. I'm getting to it there. I'm on the window. And Tim, take it away for us, buddy.
This is my brain. Actually, technically his brain is this show. So notice this podcast is most totally raw
Mhm.
and unfiltered and completely politically incorrect. We do say Merry Christmas. Our Christ is in our holiday because we don't do Xmas. And we say the Pledge of Allegiance, especially the one nation under God part. We thank our troops for their service. Thank you. Those who have served for us, those at the table.
You're a veteran too?
Yes, those at the table.
Well,
thank you very much.
Anthony and Larry. Tony.
We only recognize two genders.
One with a dangle, one without.
Dangle, no dangle. That is
they're-
definitely
Yeah,
not.
there's a
accepted.
distinction. Thank
As adults, we do enjoy adult beverage occasionally, sometimes maybe occasionally to occasionally. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. You're gonna sip instead of cheers. I went to the overhead for a cheers.
No.
That's all right. You can cheers.
I'm
with
not cheers on water.
Yeah,
That's fine. We'll take it. We cuss. We do not curse nor swear. I promise I don't do either the latter. I do the first.
Look up the definition.
There's a difference between those three if you read your Bible. We love Jesus, but we hate religion and religious hypocrites or actors, posers.
Posers.
Yep. If any of this offends you, you're probably a leftist here documenting the show to use in a publication later for the purpose of lambasting and misquoting what we say. Please send me your notes at the end of the show so I can pull the highlight clips, and I know where you get that from. But, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. You can leave.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Anthony, anything that you need to disclose?
Oh, yeah, personal
disclaim
disclaimer.
before we get started.
No, I'm here. I'm here to give the truth and let people know who I am, where I come from, and why I'm doing what it is I'm doing for our district here in Michigan. So
Sounds to me
Wonderful.
like with that accent, he's from Texas. That's my guess.
It sounds like he ain't from around these parts.
yeah, listen, I'm from my mother. If you got any problems
That's
with
what
that,
I
we'll
say.
go with that route. But I just happen to live here in Michigan now. I've been here 12
Wonderful.
years. So
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if he's going to be one of these truth seekers, we might have to disclaim the truth of this guest may not reflect the truth of the show.
Well, he's been able to watch the decline of the state under wretched Gretchen Whitmer.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Let's dive right into that. Do you want to dive into your background, or do you want to dive into some of the political stuff? Is my pack still on?
You know, well,
Yeah, your pack's on. I accidentally toggled the mute.
Thank you. Where do you want to start, Anthony? Because I got a few questions that I want to get into, and we had a great discussion during dinner. Pin it on your shirt,
I'm going to.
right there. Perfect. You should get some hairs in there. Wherever you'd like to start, Anthony, because we've got limited time with you, and I want to make sure we cover all the issues.
Yeah, no, I think just giving a quick background story, kind
Originally
of
from
catch
Texas.
people up to date. I'm from Texas. I grew up with really nothing. You know, my parents were hardworking people. My father was a truck driver. My mom worked at a bank,
Mhm.
and we just went to school, played sports, and lived. You know, we played outside. We traveled. We did what we wanted to do, and I think we acted more as free people in this society back then than we do now. And that kind of led me to where I'm at, because ever since I moved to Michigan, I've started realizing, you know, the decisions that are made for us in Washington are not made to help us be successful. They're not made to allow us to grow as a free man or woman in this country.
You're saying the policies in Washington
And-
are not for the people?
Yeah,
Really?
actually, you know, my
Wow.
slogan is people before politics, and
No, not that.
it doesn't matter what office we run from. We're going to put the American people first, because
Has the FBI come to visit you because you said that?
not yet.
Sounds like they should have.
But yeah, so you know, I just want to bring awareness to people. 2 years ago, I was sitting out on my boat. I had a political conversation with a friend of mine. It went sour. The friendship dissolved, and I decided at that point I was going to stand up and actually do something instead of arguing with other people about what's happening in our country. And I stood up and I registered, and I actually ran for president of the United States for 17 months.
Nice.
We reached almost 65 million people. We traveled the country. We went through 27 states on a budget of $8,000. Spent 15 days on the border.
Wow.
We've seen it all. I was the only candidate at the time that was on the border when Title 42 expired
Okay.
last year.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I stood there. It was 11 o'clock Central Time,
Well, wait a
midnight
minute.
here.
Wasn't Vice President Harris down there with you?
No, she was on the other side, I believe. Because I was looking out at about 5,000 people glaring right at me when it was approaching 11 o'clock.
Sounds like the first hour.
It was the first hour for them.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first hour for them. And what I witnessed after the clock struck 11 p.m. was amazing to see what's happening at our southern border firsthand.
Yeah.
People talk about it. People think they know something about something, and they don't.
Right.
Until you go to the border and witness it with your own eyes, not through a lens of CNN or Fox or Newsmax, but to witness it yourself,
It's
You
gotta
will
be
see
atrocious.
that the border is absolutely 100% wide open. And these people from all over the world, I think at the time it was 172 nations, countries that were coming through our southern border with no vetting process. They come through, they talk to a border patrol agent, they give them a limited detailed information,
Mhm.
and we don't know if it's true. Meaning, if I ask you your name and you tell me you're Pablo Rivera is from Venezuela,
Mhm.
that might not be true, and we
Well,
don't know.
Well,
Right.
they say that it's since bumbling Biden entered the White House, that about 10 million illegals have invaded this country.
Well, I
Now-
want to touch on that.
Yeah, and let me get this point out, then we'll get right back to you. And that's that 10 million illegals invading the country constitutes 14 new congressional districts. 10 million equals 14 new congressional districts,
Interesting.
according to the, census-wise.
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 All right, back to what you were going to say, Anthony.
Well, if we think about Joe Biden's slogan, "Build Back Better," right? You can't build something back better unless you tear it down completely.
Mhm.
Right? We are in that destruction phase, in my opinion, of building back better.
I think he built Hamas back better.
Well, he's trying, but they're replacing us, the American people, with the illegal immigrants that are coming into this country.
Right.
We can all sit here and bullshit all night long, but the facts are these people coming into our country, and we've all seen it unfold on TV, they have more benefits and more opportunities in this country than someone labeled as an American.
Some of them are getting $2,000 a month per person,
and the
plus
people
they're
in Maui
getting free rent.
and the people in
top of
Maui
that.
that got burned out got $750 flat.
The
Not a
people,
month, not support
the
in
people
one
in
of
New
the highest
York-
rent districts.
the people in New York, the illegal immigrants in New York are now getting free rent, food, and medical benefits and other benefits for 7 months.
Right.
Mhm.
Who's paying for that? You are. Your tax dollars, your tax dollars. The people of New York, your tax dollars are paying for this.
I'd much rather buy him a bus ticket.
To go back.
Yeah.
I would be willing to front the bill to send them back where they came from.
Yeah.
Just get them out of here because
And
It-
ban them from the country for 10 years.
Well, I think if we just enforced our immigration laws that we have on the books right now,
we
would-
have good immigration laws, and I do support immigration, but from what I've seen at the border in either Eagle Pass, Texas or Yuma, Arizona, I do not support the illegal.
Well, the number one factor for me in the illegal immigrants coming across is and even some legals, is the non-assimilation. If you're coming here, then you're coming here to be an American, not to be in America.
Right, and you should hold traditional American values, and you should believe in our blueprint of freedom and integrity and the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
If you don't believe in those things, don't even head this way. Right?
If I were to move to a foreign country, I would do everything in my power to learn the language as fluently as possible, to honor the customs there as much as possible, to honor the systems of government, to get involved whatever way I could so that I could be a productive member of that society. You don't have that mentality in the vast majority of people coming to America nowadays.
Well, even if you didn't do those things and you wanted to go to France,
Mhm.
you got to have a passport to get into France to begin with.
This is true.
No other place in the world that I know of, the border is wide open where anyone from anywhere can just walk right in and do your thing. I travel to the Dominican and Mexico quite often, and Puerto Rico, anywhere in the Caribbean. Every time I've gone, not only have I had to show my passport, but I've had to pay an entry fee to get into the country.
Right.
And then when I leave, I have to show my passport that I belong on that plane to go back home.
Right.
There is no documentation being shown from these folks that are crossing into our country. We have no idea who they are, and we're turning them loose in cities like Chicago, LA, New York. Martha's Vineyard got a few of them, and they didn't like that at all.
Oh,
They
they didn't
shipped
like
them
that.
out of there very quick.
No, I like the fact that a lot of Chicago
I
residents are
think I
starting
wrote
to
a
stand up
song
against
about
that.
that. Didn't I write a song about that?
You wrote a song?
No, I think it was the other guy that showed up for the other party. And these are the ones that are actually being processed, let alone the getaways.
Yeah.
Right.
So you ran for president, 65 million people that you came in contact with, that you connected with.
Nice.
That's an amazing thing, but I want you to, something that you elaborated on at dinner, just briefly cover how difficult it was and what really stopped your campaign. Obviously, most people wouldn't know you, but you're grassroots. You're going out there, you're pounding the pavement and shaking hands and kissing babies or whatever you had to do. I'm going to assume the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Assumptions are for each their own.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't expect, or I wouldn't expect you to be out there sniffing little girls.
No.
No,
But kissing
we leave
babies.
that to Joe Biden.
Yeah. So you were out there being honorable and connecting with people the right way. But you came into huge opposition. Explain that to the people out here.
Yeah, we some of the places that we were involved with the voters of this country were in Kentucky when they got flooded out a year and a half ago. I was on the ground for a week getting these people supplies, helping tear down a home because FEMA wouldn't help the gentleman that was sleeping on his porch. He was 82 years old.
Okay.
We were in Mississippi when they got hit by a tornado. I actually met Joe Biden and the press secretary.
Yeah.
Joe Biden wouldn't even come out and acknowledge me. But when I gave Jill a hug for a picture, put my arm around her, and I said, "My name is Anthony Hudson. I'm coming for your husband's job." She laughed and goes, "We know who you are, Mr. Hudson."
Oh, nice.
So that made me feel like I was doing something, right? That night, actually, that was a Friday night, Little Rock, Arkansas got hit with a tornado. So Saturday morning, I took my crew and we drove to Little Rock. We were on roofs of homes, cutting down trees that had fallen on these people's homes. We were cleaning out brush from the driveways, hanging up garage doors, handing out food and water, leading by example, which is not something we've had in this country, where a president or a candidate would be out there with a chainsaw cutting down trees,
right?
Getting dirty and muddy, and then still handing out water, not taking it for myself. So we were doing all this. We were getting a lot of exposure for just being who I am, how I was raised.
Yep.
And then the establishment got involved. And it came time, we couldn't register with the states until January of this year.
Okay.
And we started making phone calls, and we were going to be a write-in candidate. And we found that 20% of the country does not allow write-in candidates. There are 10 states that say no. You either got to be nominated by a party or a third party that buys their way onto the ballot.
Okay.
And these are extremely expensive. And all in all, it was going to cost us about $497,000 and over 500,000 signatures just to be a write-in candidate. And you had 60 days in most states to comply. Well, the average guy that has representation all over the country, but minimum, for us, it's a lot. For a national campaign, it wasn't enough.
Right.
So the states were like, if you can't do this, then we can't accept you. And if somebody writes your name on a ballot, their ballot will not count. Their vote will not count.
Which is crazy.
It's absolutely crazy,
be able to
because
write in
states like Arkansas, I created history in this country in Arkansas. I went down and gave a presidential candidate speech right before Halloween. And I was down there, and I was the only presidential candidate in the history of this country fully armed when he gave a speech.
Nice.
Fully armed. 10,000 people, not a single one of them could vote for me, because Arkansas is one of those states that don't allow write-in candidates.
Wow.
So it was a waste. It was a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. It's a waste of energy trying to get the message across to the American people that this is what we want to do, because the establishment and the states will not let a common man run for president. And they do that by giving really, really harsh restrictions.
Right.
Okay. So I made an official announcement that I was going to drop out of the presidential race. And I was contacted by a gentleman, I'm not going to say his name on the show, and he was telling me I should run for Congress since I live in Michigan's District 8. The only person running against me is Paul Young. He's been running for the last 6 years.
Okay.
He's lost in the general every time. He wins the primary but loses the general. And there were some influential people within the GOP that think that I can win that race. So we made the switch from presidential to congressional.
Okay.
We're focusing on our district, but we're doing it with the same mentality as when I was running for president. People before politics, writing legislation that are going to help the American people have a better quality of life without the restrictions or being held back by our government. Just to touch on that for a second, the government controls how successful you are as a small business or as an individual. They put so many regulations in place for you to keep you in check.
The average person doesn't even realize that we have a graduated income tax.
Most of them don't.
Most people don't know the more money you make, the more they take.
The more they take.
If you get paid every 2 weeks, they take more out of your paycheck than if you got paid every week or even every day.
And those are things that we want to tackle. I mean, if you make $40,000 a year, but it's paid over 2 week periods or a week at a time, you should still be in the same tax bracket because you're still making 40 grand.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that your SSI or anything should be taxed on top of that, because you're paid once a month. Can you imagine what they're giving up?
Oh, there's so many triple and quadruple taxes out there.
It's crazy. So
I support the fair tax.
The fair tax, a fair flat tax would be ideal.
Well, the fair tax isn't a flat tax.
It's
a national sales tax.
Right.
That way you don't
that
way the IRS goes bye-bye, all those employees bye-bye. The IRS is the largest branch of the United States government.
But yet they're not a government branch. They're a third-party collection agency hired by the government.
Well, true.
To do the job.
Still bigger than the military.
But I don't think they should go bye-bye. I think we should get rid of the IRS and tell every single one of them, if you want to keep your service pistol in your government job, You go stand on the southern border and protect the national security
There
of
you
your
go.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
You know, you want to keep your check, your insurance, your benefits. Go stand on the border and see for yourself just how dangerous our southern border is. And when you meet the cartel, I expect you to extinguish them, take them out, and protect our country.
Well, the Democrats don't want to solve that problem.
No.
Because it's to their benefit. You know, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a situation in this country to where they can't lose elections.
Well, and there are even many Republicans who just
they-
want to grandstand, but don't actually want to do anything substantial.
I don't understand this obsession with the Democrats that want to tear down this country. We were a great nation at one point in time. Other nations feared us.
Right.
They respected us, and they would never dare try to stand on our soil without proper permission.
Right.
And now we're the laughing stock of the world. You know, and we have Chinese people coming into our country, migrating into our country illegally, quoting, and I quote, "I'm here for the money." I'm here for the money. Well, if we stop incentivizing people to come here,
Yeah,
they'll stop coming here.
exactly.
If we literally go America first, which says no vacancy, the border is closed,
Right.
we bring our military home, we protect our nation from inside.
Yeah.
Because something's going to happen. Sleeper cells are here. We can't be
We had our sheriff make an
we
announcement
can't
here in this county.
ignore this.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, we
need to
aired that,
protect
what,
our
last-
country, and we
last
need to
Tuesday?
keep the American dollar within the borders of the United States of America.
Absolutely. Let's do
Right.
this. I've got your website pulled up here.
Oh, okay.
I'm seeing if my button didn't work. Let me try it one more time.
Jeremy broke his
I
button.
checked the buttons before I did this, and
Sure
that's
you
why I
did.
let everybody know. It's all right. I just saw a multi-billion-dollar news agency the other day have so many issues, and I don't like to revel in that, but I'm like, you know what? We got a pretty good studio here, and to have a problem with the button. Here's your website, Anthony. Explain to me first of all, 2K24. Does that just mean 2000?
Yeah, 2000.
Just
And
2K?
here's the thing, you know, Trump was here yesterday with his get out and vote speech, right?
Yeah.
Well, today's young people relate to that K because their video games are like Madden 2K19, 2K20,
Okay.
NBA 2K23,
Okay.
right? So young people, the K symbolizes 1,000, and it attracts them more so than just saying 2024.
Nice.
We all know it's 2024, but I wanted to try something different because we do need to encourage young voters
Right.
to get out there and register and be a part of this, because when I was a kid, I didn't care what happened in Washington. Yeah, we had Reagan and Bush and Clinton and all those guys. I didn't think about it too much because I was like, whatever they do in Washington's their fault. I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to go hunting. I'm going to go hang out with the boys, and it doesn't affect me.
I got your district up. I went ahead and did that.
To all of the young people that are out there,
Oh, there we go.
your vote matters, and we need you to register
That's the
and
8th,
go
right?
out and vote this year.
Yeah.
Because the decisions that are being made on your behalf in Washington are being made by criminals with selfish agendas who've been bought and paid by the establishment, and they're not there to represent the people.
Yeah.
So if you want to grow up to have nothing and just be a number lost in a crowd at the job place, or just lost in the system, don't vote. But if you want to have a say and you want to protect your future and the integrity of your future, then get out there and register and vote, because it matters.
So Tim pulled up your district and covered up Larry.
Yeah,
and we
just
really
putting
like
up
that.
Larry. Rather see what your
So
district
Larry's
is
trying
than
to swing
there you
around
go.
the back.
Yeah.
I grew up in Tuscola County from the age of 10 until we left there. I was late 20s. Millington, Vassar, right around those areas. Even spent a year in Carroll. But I had a band back then. We jammed throughout Bay City, Saginaw. I had lots of friends throughout that whole area.
I ride up there to Bay City a lot. I love the
Yeah.
little area where all the restaurants are and the music in the summer, and you just
Yeah.
park your bike on the curb and grab a drink, listen to the music, sit outside, have some food. And
I actually run, there's a run I do, goes from Livonia to Essexville and back to Livonia.
okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So representing that area, getting the young people out there. So having that dynamic of being able to reach young people. You've got a son. You said just is taking driver's training.
He just finished the first
Just finished
segment
it.
of
So you got
driver's
a
ed.
little bit younger.
15 and 13.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That's when you asked how old I was. I'm like, I just inherited 3 more grandkids. I have 10 now.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near the grandparent list yet. I better not be for a few years if my son is watching this.
My 2 oldest our oldest grandchildren are 10 years old.
Yeah, no, my 13-year-old is in 7th grade, and then I've got a freshman who played on the freshman soccer team, and
so that gives you a bit of a pulse.
Yeah,
as far as knowing what young people are into, and you can tap into that, and it's relatable. So we've got this people before politics. That's your slogan. I love it. You said a lot of people are picking up on it. You're going to have to get that.
Democrats
find out some
aren't gonna
trademark
like that
infringement.
slogan.
Well, the reality is, if you find the first time that you publish that officially, you can go back just on that alone and say, "Here's my digital footprint." And now that other people are using it, here we go.
August 18th, 2022.
There you go. So new leadership delivering results for our community. There's your whole statement. You guys can find that. Anthony Hudson, 2K 2024. I wanted to click on your policies as I was reading those before. And then rather than click on the meet Anthony and figure it out. That's what I want to flesh out here in the next few minutes on the show. But Second Amendment, no infringement. I recently spoke with some of my one of my commissioners here locally, because we are we are the first declared Second Amendment sanctuary county in the state. And I spoke to one of them off the record, and I said, what about going ahead and declaring that in our county, we are a Second Amendment constitutional carry, meaning whether you have a CPL or not, that once you enter the borders of this county, you're not going to be required to have a concealed carry. Your Constitution is your only product. And I think the commissioner I spoke with was very excited about that. So that's one of the things you do. Is there anything you want to elaborate before?
Well, I mean, that's something I want to institute all across the country, because if I were to drive to Texas, I have to call every state along the way to find out what how to carry in my car, or am I allowed to carry at the gas station, or what are the rules? That's an infringement. Totally. We are the United States of America, and our rights are our God-given rights in this country, and they are protected by the Constitution. So if we are constitutional carry, you get in your car and you drive to Arkansas, knowing that the state of Tennessee and Kansas or Kentucky are exactly the same as Michigan.
Right.
Just follow the law.
Exactly.
And you shouldn't have to call the sheriff's department if you're going to California and 13 states. You shouldn't have to take that time out of your day when you're not breaking the law. So
correct.
When I talk about the Second Amendment, it's very simple. It says no infringements. That means no infringement. That's
Larry's number one, the one that he reads in our normal disclaimers on Tuesdays. And he just reads the Second Amendment on that. And Congress shall make no law, or the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So I love it.
Getting into Congress, I can fight for that and be an advocate all over the nation.
Absolutely.
For protecting our Second Amendment. Hell, our first
what do you think about red flag laws?
They are obviously an infringement of our rights as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty everything that Whitmer just passed that went into place last week needs to be stricken from the record, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm one of the Republicans that'll stand up and fight it.
I want to know why somebody hasn't brought a prima facie lawsuit on that. Just the fact that it's on its face is unconstitutional.
Well, it's because a lot of times the courts won't recognize a case until somebody's been damaged. It's hard to argue that it's unconstitutional when it hasn't affected anybody yet, and until somebody loses their firearms. But see,
and then they'll take us to court for tax evasion when nobody's been harmed that way either.
Don't get me started with that one.
Well, look what they just did.
Or maybe we should get you started.
Look what they just did to Donald Trump in New York.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go down your list, because I know we got you for a limited time, and I want to get through a bunch of these. Stop me. You've already elaborated on the border. Close all the borders. Great policy on that. We'll fight to stop the $127 million investment in electric school buses. That's a farce. Electric school buses. What a joke.
We miss enough school as it is in the wintertime. Why do we need to add more days when the bus won't start because it didn't charge?
If they,
right.
And if we actually went down that road, listen, the technology is out there. They've suppressed it every time. There are vehicles, little add-ons to existing vehicles that the vehicles now get 80 to 100 miles an hour, but they won't do it because we run on oil.
Right.
And the people that are the biggest behind the electrical movement are the oil companies, because it pushes their profits up, and people don't get that dynamic.
Right.
They don't see that understanding that if they restrict the flow of it. And Trump was right. He even said it last night that that is our most prevalent resource is oil and natural gas.
Well, we're the number one producer in the world of crude oil.
When he got to when he got to, I think it was the middle of his second year in his first term, well, only term up to this point, but in his second year, I had buddies walking into the locker room for hockey, and they're like, "Hey, they got tankers sitting with oil that they're actually wanting to pay other people to take the tanker because the oil in it right now is pretty much worth nothing."
Wow.
Because the price per barrel went down so low that they just parked the boat and waited for the prices to come back up.
And when the prices went down recently, a month ago, we were producing at a record level in our country. You know, and here's what I don't understand about Sleepy Joe fall up the stairs Biden is the United States have never negotiated with terrorists, right? We don't do it.
Except for OPEC.
But he negotiated with Iran.
Yeah.
He's paid Iran to attack us. Those are American tax-paying dollars that are being used against us by the Iranian proxies in the Middle East. And we're buying oil from Iran.
We've been buying oil from Iran,
It's
Russia.
time to stop.
We buy all of the people we say are
63.
enemies. We buy oil and commodities from all the countries we have.
How nice would it be if America went back to an independent status, which is what we had in 1776?
Absolutely.
And we became an export-only nation where we were making money off our goods, our products, our infrastructure all over the world. We're shipping it out to them, and they're buying it from us rather than us buying oil from Iran or from Russia or from wherever else. I mean, it's
America
it's
first.
ridiculous.
Wow.
America first. You never heard of that.
Concept.
What do you got, Larry? Checking chat.
No, I'm getting all kinds of interference. I wasn't going to say anything. I was trying to.
Oh, that's probably you because I'm not hearing it. Are you hearing
I'm not
any
hearing
of We're good.
No, we're good on our end.
Okay. Support small businesses. Any elaboration on that?
Well, I'm a small business owner, and I'm tired of the restrictions and all the qualifications when it comes to trying to expand my business, trying to buy more semi trucks, or buy property to store the trucks, maybe grow into my own mechanic shop, and all these restrictions. Forget it. That's the government holding us back.
Just the facts of being a trucker alone is horrible.
It used to be
the amount of oversight that they have.
It used to be an industry where you could make a ton of money. And when I was a kid, my father would go out and he'd make money, but my father was a materialistic guy, so he spent a lot of money. But in today's trucking world, with the regulations, the speed inhibitors, the ELDs, the limited truck parking on the side of the road, and the truck stops, and highway tax fees, and all the toll roads,
it's ridiculous.
Broker fees, lumper fees, all these things are put in place to keep us in check. And last time I checked, that's not freedom.
Right.
It's not freedom.
Freedom is all or nothing. And there's some things I could say on here that people have probably been saying for years, like, we don't need to ask permission to go hunting. We don't need a hunter's license to go hunting or a fishing license to go fishing. We need to be free to be able to live, to be able to speak, think, and act as we want without feeling imprisoned by our government. And I'm sorry, but everyone in here is imprisoned by our government because we have to abide by their laws, their regulations.
Well, there's too much money in those things.
Yeah, even the building industry,
it's about the money.
Civic building industry, they were going to donate the materials, the time, and the labor to build, what was it, a bridge or something? And it was still going to cost millions of dollars because it was all
because of the
fees and bureaucratic
permits and
clearance and permits. That was literally 80-90% of the cost of the build project. It was ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad you were bringing this up because I have put up a video about a week and a half ago that went viral on TikTok.
Good. And
somebody reposted it on Twitter or X, and it went viral there. 2.1 million on Twitter, 2.3 million on TikTok.
Wonderful.
Okay. And it was about not paying taxes out of our wages.
Oh, nice.
And we need to file a class action lawsuit against our federal government because we hold the purse.
Right.
Everybody's going around, defund the police, defund this. No, let's defund the government.
Right.
Then we can get the control that we have to have over our government because they work for us, not
And
the
let's
other
see
way
it
around.
actually shut down where Nancy Pelosi doesn't get a paycheck, even though she's made more money off of tax or off of trading
tips.
stocks.
Yeah, I know.
than
huh?
anything.
The insider
but let's shut
trading,
it
the
down.
lobbyist money, all of that stuff needs to go out the window.
But every time they talk about a government shutdown because they haven't balanced the budget, which the budget's never been balanced, it's just been increased, and they try to limit how much. They lay off the janitors.
Right. They threatened the.
It's a fear tactic. Is
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah,
And I've put that video up, and people calm down. The government's not going to shut down.
No.
There's too much money in it for them to keep it open rather than shutting it down. But they scare us. They put that thought in our head, and we start panicking as if we don't have enough stress in life as it is.
Yeah.
That, we're going to shut down the government if we don't get the approval to raise the debt ceiling. Stop printing our money first and foremost. Get rid of the Fed, unplug the machines, and go back to the Constitution that says our monetary system should be backed by gold and silver.
Right.
That's in the
100%.
Constitution. So if you want to stand up and say, I want to protect the Constitution, then you need to read the Constitution and
That would
understand
help.
what it says and educate yourself, because you can't say, I'm all for the Constitution, but yet you don't do anything about shutting down the Fed and stop the printers from printing money, because our dollar is worth nothing because there's so much of it in circulation.
It's 99% worth less.
I told people, it's like if you have a top rookie card of Babe Ruth, if you have 10 of them, they're worth, let's say, $10,000.
Okay.
But if you only have one of them, it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Because there's less in
Because
circulation.
there's less of it. Yeah.
So back our money by gold and silver and stop printing. And when we have a control of that
Mechanism.
dollar, so to speak,
Right.
it'll start to gain value when we start putting or reinvesting in the infrastructure in our government or in our country.
And that's what people don't realize this. That's the number one reason they killed Kennedy.
It's true. And you know what?
He
I may have just put my name on a bullet, but you know what? If I'm doing it for the American people, then I'm doing it for the right reason.
He coined, what was it, $400 million? He coined legitimate coin.
Was Kennedy half dollars?
No, that was the stab in the back after they murdered him. Was to put him on the $50 saying, you're not going to do it. If you go back, listen, we'll take a rabbit trail on that. If you look at all of our money, everybody on the money is a mockery of those people. Andrew Jackson was one of the first presidents.
Really?
He had some flaws, but he was one of the first presidents to fight a national bank and fought it and successfully won, beat the national bank that they tried to institute and bring into control the monetary system. And they put him on the most prolific dollar bill, the $20 bill. They put him on the most prolific bill. Lincoln wanted to, or was the president during the Civil War, and he freed the slaves. So they put him on the little brown penny with his face opposite of all the other coins.
Oh, facing the other way.
And they put him on the $1 bill because that's the value they put on him. Just go through the money and look at the people that are on it. Grant's on the $50 bill because he was part of Reconstructionism. He was part of that. He was the Confederate or the.
These are all Federal Reserve decisions, not something that was ever voted on, huh?
Correct. And all of them, every one of those bills is a slap in the face of the American people.
They're about as federal as Federal Express.
Well, it's a slap in the face to the American people that now we have to stick our nose in everybody else's business all around the world, while we have hungry people here, while we have elderly people that are struggling, while we have single moms and dads with autistic children that don't qualify for benefits, but an illegal immigrant can cross the river
that's the next one,
and just be given everything that they need to stay here.
Exactly.
And the other contradiction is we're paying billions of dollars to Ukraine to push out Russia, right? But we're also paying billions of dollars for the immigrants to stay.
Right.
Yep.
Why are we not putting the American people first and reprioritizing the amount of money that we collect into the United States of America and fixing what's broken here? And I have a solution for the homeless issue and the veterans and the illegal immigrants that are coming into our country. I'm the only candidate that's talking about it, and no one in Washington wants to hear about it. Want to hear about it real quick?
Give it to us.
2 minutes. We have 537 closed military bases in this country.
Really?
Okay.
We own that land. Those are our resources. And every base has what? Barracks, latrines, chow hall, running water, jobs. Why are we not reopening these bases for the veterans who are homeless and those who don't, the normal citizens that are homeless, and put them through an 18-month program where we have counselors that are getting them sober, we're getting them cleaned up, we're teaching them how to write a resume, we're getting like Goodwill and Salvation Army to donate clothes so that they can dress themselves, and teach them a trade while they're in the program on the military base. After 18 months, you can exit the program, get you an apartment, we can help you find a place to live, and now you have a trade. Now you have a job. You can go out and make $30 an hour. And as far as the illegal immigrants coming into this country, why are we not setting aside about 15 or 20 of those military bases, the size of Fort Hood, right? And putting the immigrants there. And then we can hold them. They have a place to eat, a place to sleep, a place to work.
What they're doing is they're also giving these immigrants VA benefits.
So, and if we put them all on the military bases, how do we turn that into a congressional district that'll vote for people like Nancy Pelosi? And
we're not.
No,
we're not.
You are very, very radical in your practical, common sense applications of how we could fix this country, Anthony. I don't know how
you could have the trade school.
You can be this radical, just throwing common sense and practical solutions out here.
Well,
common sense.
And I mean,
I'll tell you how. It's because I'm a citizen. I'm an average man like anybody else
who has a vested interest in this country.
Right. I have 2 children that I want to give a solidified nation to. That where they can grow up with peace. Right. And go outside or go to the grocery store with their kids and not have the fear of being robbed or beaten or have their car stolen, by someone who doesn't belong here.
Agreed.
So when Trump says deport them, I'll go on record in front of everyone and say, I put that message out 2 months before Trump ever said it publicly.
Right.
Deport every single one of those Palestinian protesters that were gluing themselves to the street during the Macy's Day Parade.
Yep, I saw that.
Get them out. Deport them. If you're going to college,
they defaced the National Archives.
Yeah, they were destroying.
They got into the National.
We're tearing down statues of Jefferson and Washington.
Set off some sort of paint bomb or something.
Right. What is this in 30 years? What is the statue that's going to be standing up by today's standard?
It'll be George Floyd.
George Floyd. It's going to be
hands up, don't shoot guy that we found out was never even.
It might even be an illegal immigrant.
Juicy
standing outside of a hotel.
Who's that? What's that church down in Texas? Is it Osteen? Was that his name?
Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen. And the shooter had a firearm, and it said "Free Palestine" on the butt.
As well as being a non-gender, whatever the hell they were.
Gender bender.
She had male names and female names.
I call them gender benders.
Let's do this.
What's the next one on that
EV
list?
battery plant production. Agree 100%. Interesting. Overtime and bonuses. This seems like a minor issue, but it's on your list. So is there anything just quickly to point out?
Yeah, I mean, the overtime and bonus idea, I put it up on TikTok few years ago, about a year and a half ago, and it received 6.1 million views.
Okay.
That if we satisfy our tax debt on the first 40 hours of our work week and we're asked to stay out later or longer away from home, our bonus checks should be tax exempt. They are taxed at a higher tax rate
because of the graduated scale.
They graduated scale. So if you work 40 hours a week at $50 an hour, great. But at time and a half, you're making $75 an hour, so they're going to tax you 47, 48%.
Yep.
Bonus checks. That's a thank you, Larry, for doing your job all year long. I'm going to give you $500 for Christmas, but you go home with $220.
Yeah.
The government gets the rest of your tax check. I think now, on a grand scheme of things, I want to fight to get rid of payroll taxes altogether.
Yeah,
completely. And the overtime and bonus checks wouldn't matter because everything is already tax exempt.
But start somewhere.
And I think lottery winning should be tax exempt because you're already
giving all that money to the government.
Yeah.
You're already giving all that money to the government. When you're playing the lottery, you're buying a ticket from a government, and they're not giving you all the money that's collected.
They're taking almost half of it. But what about when you're in a casino and you happen to get lucky on a 50-cent bet and you win $7,000? You got to get
it. You get a 1099 before you walk out the door.
The point is, we the people have the control in this country. And we, the people, need to be confident enough to understand that we have that control. We have that power.
Absolutely.
And we have the numbers to stand up to government and say, I will not comply. You can't take us all.
Do you think it needs to come down? This is a discussion we continually have here on the show. Do you think it really comes down to the people being directly affected before they get the realization of the overreach of our government?
I think people are so politically brainwashed into the way they think the government works.
Yeah.
That they just think, I can't fight that because that's the way it is.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
One of the biggest
scams that they're too big.
One of the biggest issues I have, and I would never try and go after Social Security. I know too many people rely on it, right? Disability, Social Security income. But if you look at it in layman's terms, it is a violation of the Constitution of the United States of America. It is a socialist agenda.
It is
taking money from one to give to others.
Right.
It is a socialist agenda, and our Constitution is supporting capitalism, not socialism. So you would have to get rid of that. And if you get rid of it, you're getting rid of unemployment, cash assistance, your Medicaid, Medicare. You're getting rid of all these things.
Right.
But to be able to do that, you have to pay everyone out a lump sum of what they're owed and have them invest or find a way to manage their own money.
Yeah.
And it will be like hitting a wall.
Hey, I wonder
for a couple of years until people got used to it. But since the 40s,
right,
our whole generation, we thought paying into Social Security out of our paycheck was just the normal way to do things.
Right.
Right.
And it's not.
And what he's saying by, eliminating the income tax, right? There are 9 states that do not have
State income taxes.
That's correct.
What
You
are
have Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming.
Right.
And the top on your list is Alaska by alphabetical order.
And that's the
Uh-huh.
income tax. I'm talking
Right.
about the
But the
federal
number-
tax out of your
right.
wages.
But the
Right.
number one state that people are going to is Florida. Out of all those states,
But I was
because
gonna
they
point-
have the nicest weather.
Well, and I was going to point this out briefly, and then we can move on and finish up with everything. Is Alaska? Not only do they not have a state income tax,
They get paid.
but they've also nationalized their oil reserves,
Yep.
or at least they get the dividends and revenue from that.
Yep.
And the longer you live in the state, and at least as a resident, no matter how much you contribute, you get a check
Right.
at the end of the year.
Alaska,
And I don't agree with the vast majority of socialist plans, but I'll tell you what, nationalize the oil
Oh
in
my
this
gosh.
country, the oil and natural gas, let all the profits pay for the government, make it as transparent as possible, get everybody's sticky little hands out of the deal, and then provide the electrical grid for free, the natural gas
I don't
to
know.
residents.
You're sounding pretty.
I am, but I'm saying these are our national resources just as much as these other things to go, you know what? Why we're harvesting this over here and then paying the top dollar over here,
Yeah.
and then they're robbing our paychecks as we go to use those things. We have the right to travel on the roads.
Well, the
because
power
we're
to
paying for it 33 cents in the state of Michigan for
Something like that.
our tax on gasoline.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
you have the
we've got-
federal tax and the state tax, and truck drivers. We have
Right.
IFTA
You know,
tax.
Yeah. That's
I had an
correct.
idea real quick. I don't want to back up too far, but the opening of the military bases.
Yeah.
I was thinking, because this is not to federalize it completely, but you could have the trade schools bid quarterly for the educational programs, and then those of us that we stop paying into the Social Security systems. What if we were able to then invest in or sponsor those trade school programs and get paid dividends after the graduates' wages when they graduate or something like that?
There's so
Yeah,
many
there's real
things
cool
that we
things you
can
could
do.
with that.
Yeah.
There's so many things we can do, but we've got to stop sending our money
Yeah.
outside of our borders first.
Right.
Yep. Stop
The
that.
American dollar
Right.
for the American people, and
Right.
again,
Trademark that one.
reprioritize how
That's
we
a good one
spend it.
too. American dollar for
That's
the
a good
American
one.
people.
You got that one written
People
down?
before politics.
I don't have that written down, but I
American,
can
American
write that
dollars
down.
for American people.
Yeah.
American
That's
dollars for
huge.
American people. I got to write that down.
Trade
Yeah, you
down
got to write
on
that
too.
down. Well, we're trademarked.
Yep.
Trademark.
Right here. Yep.
So quickly, everybody can go there.
Digital
Anthony
stamp.
Hudson, 2K24.com. Check those out. The last one on here, LGBTQ, freedom to
ouch.
choose who you want to be. Do you want to discuss that at all? I mean, that's
It's basic principle, as an adult in the United States of America, you have the freedom to choose if you want to buy an electric car or a gas car.
Mhm.
You have the right to choose if you're going to put an American flag on your house or not. You have so many choices that we want to make in our lifetime.
Mhm.
Our First Amendment right is freedom of representation. And that is for you to be who you want to be.
Okay.
You don't get that right as a 16-year-old because you're not an adult.
Right.
Okay. If you want to be a lesbian, or if you want to be gay, or if you want to whatever, if you want to be transgender, that's your choice, your life. Okay.
Right.
Well, your decisions about your personal life affect me in no way, no capacity whatsoever. Just like if I want to go out in my backyard and smoke a brisket and smokes up the entire neighborhood, they can't say anything about it because it's my yard, my brisket, right? My body, my choice.
It seems like there was a pause right there. Wasn't there a guy? There was a whole neighborhood that a lady sued one of the neighbors for cooking out in his backyard.
I don't know.
And so
She was a
they,
vegan.
And because she was a vegan, they won the lawsuit. And then they advertised a huge backyard barbecue, Victory Barbecue.
Really?
They were hosting because this lady, because she was a bitch. She was just doing this. Continue.
No, I put that up there because I believe we as American people, under our freedoms and our amendments to the Constitution, allow us to make decisions on our lives.
Yes.
And we should have those decisions. We should have the right to freedom of religion, freedom of speech. No matter what you say, it only affects me if I let it affect me.
Correct.
Right.
So
I'm in charge of my feelings and all that. So
you're against the $10,000 fine that you might get for misgendering.
I'll just be as blunt as I can. And if Stretch and Gretchen is watching, I don't care. If I call someone a he because he's standing at a urinal, but he's wearing a wig and has fake boobs and he gets offended, I don't care.
I don't either.
God doesn't make mistakes. It's that simple. You're born a man, a boy, or you're born a girl. But if you think that you are in the wrong body, hold on to that thought and that idea until you're 18 years old, and then you can do what you need to do.
Okay.
But leave our children alone.
Right.
LGBTQ and sexual orientation is not a subject at school. Bring back reading and writing and teach our kids how to sign their name on the back of a paycheck. Period.
Yeah.
They don't even teach cursive much anymore.
They don't teach it. They don't teach it at all.
I heard that they're actually trying to bring that back.
They need to.
Yeah, because we're raising a bunch of idiots.
Yeah,
get rid of the Chromebooks and let the teachers have a chalkboard and let the kids actually write like we did when we were in school. Right. I carried 5-6 books a day, all day long, to every class, and then I'd go home with 3 or 4 of those books.
Remember
with homework.
peachy folders?
Yeah.
Remember those peachy folders?
Well, I wanted to clarify on that one because the way it read, I knew by the rest of your stuff, but it says LGBTQ plus HILMNOP, freedom to choose who you want to be. And I'm like, all right, I know you're not saying the freedom to be a whatever that is. You're really, that statement is about you saying, listen, you need the freedom to be able to wait until you're of consenting age.
When you're of age of 18, when you can die for this country, you can make a decision about life choices.
Absolutely.
Children don't remember what they had for breakfast yesterday, let alone have the ability to make a decision that's going to alter their life for the rest of their life at the age of 13.
There was a dad just lost a case for his kid. I want to say it was I don't know if it was the Texas case. What was it?
Well, there was one in Texas. There was another one.
Well, there was a dad. It was just announced today that they lost the dad lost the case trying to prevent the mother from chopping up their little boy.
Yeah.
And
I urge people, you can Google this and see the images. Google the images of what a little girl looks like or a woman looks like after they've been given a surgical penis.
The surgical process.
Go look at it. Go look at what the forearm, the inside of the thigh, and then the member itself.
It rots off.
It looks like it's an alien from another.
And it rots off within a year or two in like 90% of the cases.
And they don't work. I mean, yeah, you might be able to piss out of it, but you're not going to get someone pregnant. You're not a man.
There's no sexual stimulation out of it either.
I don't know.
It's not a functional
they
phallus.
Pump it up or do something like the old Reebok shoes. I don't know. But they had that question going around a long time ago, or not too long ago, but what's the definition of a woman?
Right.
It's simple.
Our newest Supreme Court judge couldn't do it.
Yeah,
couldn't
she
do
didn't
that.
know.
A woman is a human being that has ovaries and a fallopian tube and has the ability to carry a
It's an
baby.
adult female.
Period.
A woman is an adult female human.
And we've moved far beyond, Monsanto and glyphosate poisoning people, and knowing that there are people that have hermaphroditic tendencies. Out of 8 billion people, you might get 1 million or 2 million people that have some genetic defects, some things like that. Right. And it's been increasing with the amount of chemicals that we've put in the environment and food.
Hormonal imbalance is the most common symptom of that, not physical,
correct,
but just literally feel that. That's what comes up with the feeling like I'm in the wrong body. Correct. Is a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, but that's a completely different story. Somebody like this is an opposer.
But here's the thing: our response now, we're being told that we enable that. Right. Whatever the situation may be, instead of finding a solution to help that person normalize that, to get the right nutrients or whatever it is, to detoxify, to do these other things.
It's prenatal. It was in the mother.
And we don't have to broadcast it all over the nation either. Right. That's what some of these people want. They want the attention.
It's political. Yep.
If we just let people choose what they want to be and go on about it like our everyday life, it wouldn't be such a big political topic.
But they're pushing it.
They're pushing it, and they're like, "Oh, my rights are being taken." No, your rights are not being taken away from you.
Yeah,
no one's coming after your rights. But what people are pissed off about is during Pride Month, you got grown men walking down the street naked in a parade in front of children. In front of children. Yeah. If I did that tomorrow, I'm going to go to jail for indecent exposure.
What did I say? So do I need to say the word penis? Is that they literally are walking down the street naked with glitter on their genitalia.
There you go.
Yeah. And if we did that in front of children, we would go to jail.
If you were wearing a pride flag, you get away with it, though.
Yeah.
This is true.
And that's the norm. No, we just need to respect people's right to their privacy.
Yeah.
And if we stop making it a Hollywood stunt, people would do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be so condemned by it.
And just before that, in your list, you also had parental rights, which is the emphasis of that. Right. Is and
get the government out of your home. Let parents have control of their children.
Yep.
They're our children. I don't care about your conspiracy theories on birth certificates and social security cards.
Right.
I have not relinquished my parental rights to a school or any organization to educate my children about something without my approval when it comes to gender, understanding, or, sexual orientation or whatnot. That's my job. Your job as a teacher or a school is to educate my children with traditional education and not today's indoctrination. And we must stand up and fight this so that our children of today can get the same education we got from yesterday, because it was the education of yesterday that built the technology we have today.
Exactly.
And that's a fact.
Guys, we're going to get close to wrapping up here. We've done our hour, but if there's any questions, you got about 2 minutes to get them into the chat real quick. Thanks everybody for chiming in. Mr. Coffee says it was Seattle that the father lost the.
Is that Seattle?
Case,
okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Seattle's kind of one of those,
Northwest. Yep.
Yeah. It's so blue it's almost black. We should trademark that. That was good. If anybody has any questions as we're wrapping up tonight, get them in the chat quickly.
Yeah, please do.
And that was a color reference, not a race reference, just in case any libtard is watching.
What?
The color black you were talking about. Some libtard.
Yeah, it wasn't a race reference.
Some libtard might call that a race reference.
Wow, I didn't even think of that because I'm not.
Of course not.
Well, yeah, but you got to remember there's libtards that
it's because you're a white Polak.
It's because I'm a white Polak and didn't know that.
Well, while we're trying to wrap up, I just want to let everyone know that if you live in District 8 or you're close to District 8 and you want to help us go out and get signatures on our petitions, please get a hold of me. You can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, or what's the other one?
X, Twitter.
X at Hudson 2K24. My X or Twitter account is Hudson 2K24, and we're all over TikTok. Hudson for Congress 2024. You can spell out FOR or use the number 4.
Oh, got both.
Somehow get a hold of me and let me know, and we would be glad to meet up with you and work with you to help get signatures. This is an important race coming up here in District 8 because it is a blue district.
There's that map again.
With
for-
Dan Kildee.
Mhm.
And Dan Kildee has
It's right over top of Larry. I like it.
he stated that he's not running for re-election.
Yep.
So it's a wide open seat, and this district is +1 or +2 to become a Republican district.
Yeah.
So you got Paul Young, who is old school money from lobbyists. He inherited from his father. He knows everyone in DC. He's part of the establishment. Or you've got a backyards, redneck, blue collar, hardworking grassroots man standing up to fight.
That's you.
Who's
That's
that?
me.
I was gonna say, who's
That's
that?
me.
Yeah,
That's
that
me.
sounds
That Paul Young
The
guy
guy
over
over
here.
here. That's
That
me.
Paul Young
Right
guy
on.
doesn't
the
he just
truck
keep
driver.
losing?
So if you want to start making decisions about with your government, if you
Yeah.
want to start having a say in the process, that I'm the candidate you want to vote for, because I'm giving the power back to the people.
So you're
When
saying
we
you
put-
want to actually represent the people of your district?
I have nothing else to represent.
You don't-
I am not representing
no
the establishment
lobbyists?
or the lobbyists. I don't
No?
want their money.
No industries, really?
Mm-mm.
You don't want to
Yeah.
become a multi-million-dollar on
No.
a $160,000 salary?
No, I'll continue with the
car
salary I
companies?
get with my trucking company. I'll be just
And
fine.
what people need to realize here is you got to realize that the primary election is actually the most important election, because that's the person you're selecting to go up in the general,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? And also, it doesn't matter if you're in this guy's district or not.
Hmm.
All right, the ability to flip Congress and keep Congress Republican is what you need to look at.
Right.
So you can
So
support him
if
from
you're-
outside the
Right.
district?
If
Sure.
you live in a Democrat county and you're hopeless, then support this guy,
Right.
There you go.
because this guy here is, even though that you're in a district, like if you're in a district that's all Democrat and you're a
What, like,
Republican,
10?
so you don't participate in politics where you live, come help this guy,
Mhm.
because this guy is going to represent you. Even though technically he doesn't represent you, he's still going to push your values in his district.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
we'll be pushing it as a U.S. congressman. This is a federal position. This is not a state level
That is,
position.
this
So-
is correct.
right.
But
so
what I mean
can
is,
represent the entire nation as
Because-
well as my district.
Because bills that you introduce
the
and
bills that
legislation
we
that you
write,
bring in.
Yes.
The bills
can
that we
affect the
bring
whole nation.
into fruition are to help you have a better quality of life, to release some of the burden
Yeah.
of government pressure that's holding you back. And if we can do this together, we can show unification.
Yeah.
We can have a better outlook, a better positive attitude.
Yeah.
And we can start learning to
Right.
work with the other side, the blue. We can start learning
Meaning learning how to
work with the Democrats.
right.
Yeah,
And
let
it's
me,
like
let me
my-
say it out there, but we have to have a strong base in
Mhm.
order for that to happen. And
I
that
have
starts here.
friends up in Essexville and Bay City that watch this podcast,
Mm.
and that's your district.
Yes, it is.
So, this is the guy they need to be supporting. But if you're even, outside of his district, it's still important to help a guy
You can
like
donate.
this get to. You can donate. You can also volunteer.
Yes,
volunteer.
you can come with us in Genesee County, Saginaw Bay, or Midland County.
You can volunteer. You got friends. What if you live in Livonia and you have friends and family that are in Bay City
And you know what?
or that are in Fenton or Davison?
Or
Right.
That's right.
Two quick thing. Mr. Coffee asked earlier in the chat, but I ignored you because you said that our cameras were not that good, Mr.
What?
Coffee. So you're kind of a jerk. He
I've
wants to
been-
know what the
cameras
emblem
were
is
fine.
on your hat. It's just simply the seal of the president of the United
It's a
States.
seal of the President of the United States
the
of
POTUS
America. It
seal?
was handed to me by a 9-year-old in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
I went out there with my son's 8th grade class last year, and the kid and his father were with another school from another state. I think they're from Alabama.
Okay.
And the dad had bought the hat, but they heard me speaking to people outside of Congress about my presidential run.
Okay.
And the kid came up to me, shook my hand, and said, "My dad wants to vote for you," and gave me the hat. So I wear
Awesome.
the hat to
In honor of
remember the
that.
little boy
You
that
remember that? Yeah.
that he given the hat to his dad, and he chose to come over and give it to me. So
Mr. Coffee says, I thought so. Very cool. And to me, that is the dynamic we've got to get back to in this country, is those connections, those dynamics of who you meet. We've had a number of other people on the show, Michael Hoover running for U.S. Senate.
okay.
And the stories that Michael has shared with me personally, and then some of them on the show, just of those personal interactions of talking to people of similar things like that, where somebody just, you get this direct connection with somebody.
Yep.
And those are what matters. And these political animals that are out there, they don't actually care about that.
No, these people that are in office now, and we'll talk about Stumbling Bumbling Joe one more time. Last year, President's Day, the President of the United States of America was not even in his own country where his people were supposed to be celebrating his day. He was in Kyiv, Ukraine, walking the streets with Zelensky, turning his back on the American people. It is time, if you want to clean the swamp, when Donald Trump goes out there and says, I'm going to clean the swamp, listen, Donald, I support you, and I'm going to be voting for Donald Trump, but he's wrong. He cannot clean the swamp, but you can.
We can.
And you do it by voting out the corruption and voting in more blue-collar people that want to serve the people, not work for the establishment. And there is a difference. And I've been working for someone my whole life. I want to go to work for you now.
So you're saying that all politics is local?
They start local.
Yeah.
It all starts right here in your own backyard. And if we can't win our backyard, then we're in trouble.
We got to win our backyard, and then we can help our neighbor win their backyard, and so on.
That's right. That's right. So
I think we had a Biden update.
Did we?
Yeah.
And I had these terrible headaches, was diagnosed with having anyway, they had to take the top of my head off a couple times, see if I had a brain.
yeah.
Which they didn't find out.
You didn't. Okay.
That was after he fell
So
up the flight of
it's
stairs.
important to get out and vote, especially in primaries.
Yeah.
We have a primary coming up here in
August
a week and a half or
27th, yeah.
so, the 27th.
Oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
So
presidential
we got to
primary.
get up.
Presidential
It's
primary.
not a waste of time to vote. You got to
Nope.
get out and vote. Vote, vote, vote. I don't care how you vote.
And they opened it up.
I
which
vote
I'm-
with
I'm-
the absentee ballot. I'm a truck driver.
Yeah.
So-
They opened it up for early voting, which I'm fundamentally opposed to. In fact, I'm going to literally wait until Tuesday, the 27th, to go in and vote.
I mean, I like
physically,
the old
but I
days of
understand
standing in line and
Exactly.
showing my ID, a signature is
You have to
required.
actually meet and converse with people.
Yeah,
You actually got to
it's-
talk to people.
And we don't even get that in the grocery store anymore because it's all self-checkout. So I would like to get back to a human standard. Let's impose those restrictions that they put on us. Let's flip the switch and start restricting big pharma, big tech, AI, and all these social media gurus.
We go out of our way to interact with people just to mess with them in the
Yeah.
checkout.
I interact with them just because I'd rather hear them say
So
something.
as a
back to me.
fellow truck driver, what do you think about trucking rates nowadays?
I think the entire trucking industry needs an overhaul.
It does.
Completely. I think both feet need to be pulled off our throats. I think the FMCSA needs to be cut in half. The DOT needs to be cut in half. The two halves we keep, we merge them together, and we stop restricting drivers out there and start allowing them to make some money to support their family.
Yeah.
We
But they're the
don't
lifeblood.
leave our homes for a week and miss birthdays and anniversaries and holidays and all these important moments in our life.
Yeah.
Because we want to.
Well,
We do that because we have to.
Well, one of the biggest offenses is if you most truck drivers, like if you're hauling freight and you go out of state, and if you're paid by the hour, they don't pay overtime.
Right.
No, they don't.
Because federal law, there's some whole loophole in the overtime law where you can't even you're not eligible, truck drivers aren't eligible for overtime until, was it 60 hours?
Somewhere around there.
60 hours, right? While everybody else on the planet in
Except
the United
salaried
States.
workers. Salaried workers don't
Yeah.
get overtime.
Well, salaried
Exactly.
don't. I'm salaried. But my summertime job is overtime, but we don't go out of state and they're very generous. But like a lot of companies, they pay their drivers by the hour and they're working 60 hours a week and get zero
So
overtime
wouldn't you
dollars
like to
their
have a
check.
representative that would go back
Yeah.
and write the legislation that says it's easy to figure out what your hourly rate is on the first 40 hours because it's what you make
Right.
all the way through, right?
Right.
So now we're going to write legislation and we're going to enforce the companies to start paying the
Yeah.
time and a half either from 40 on, or you get a higher rate for all of it,
Yeah.
every hour consumed. I like the overtime after 8 hours a day
Mhm.
because you work 10
Versus
hours one
40
day
hours.
Yeah.
because
because you could,
you can do 10 hours
you can
in
do 10,
4
12
days.
hours in one day, and then the next day you work 6.
Well, we can work 14 in a day. So we're 28 after 2 days if we're doing long haul.
Well, I know in construction, if you have scheduling things and you need to finish a job, and you have to have a certain part of that job, and then the next day you come in and you've only got 4 hours worth of work left in another area, but on the same job, and you worked your ass off the day before,
right?
You know, but I've been self-employed.
I think you should get your overtime after 8 hours every day.
My specialty has always been heavy haul, multi-axle, double trailer. That's always been my specialty.
Give me your final thoughts, Larry. Sign my paper. Joni Jojo, I will come see you on election day, of course, because I love you, sweetheart. You and Tommy. There's some beautiful people that run our that are part of our
red marker. What'd you do with my red?
You have to use that one. I think the red ran out.
I can't sign it in blue.
Oh,
I'll do this, and you can put it up on your wall.
Well, you got to sign mine, but you can sign yours too.
Yeah.
Part of our thing at the end of the show is for you to sign.
We appreciate you coming on, and maybe in the future.
Did you give your final thought?
Back. Oh, my final thought is, everybody, you got to do your due diligence. You got to get out in these primaries and vote, because if you don't, we end up sending the wrong candidate in the general election, and we end up losing.
Exactly.
And his opponent is a serial loser.
Exactly.
Right? And this guy here is the real McCoy. He's a working man that will represent the working man and not the special interests. And it doesn't matter whether you're in his district or not. You need to donate to his campaign. You need to volunteer for his campaign. You can do phone calls. You can knock doors.
Knock on doors or call some of these donors. Help us out.
Yeah.
We've got a few people in Genesee County, so I'll be asking you if you've got any.
I've got petitions, so
petitions.
Get me in touch with them, and I'll meet up with them. Okay. You know, as anybody around our district, if you want to meet with me and discuss something over a drink or over dinner, just contact me through our website, and I will be happy to see, even if it's one-on-one. And that's not something Paul Young is going to do. I will show up in my Dodge Ram. We'll have a beer, we'll have a burger, we'll talk politics. I can't fix the problem if you don't tell me what it is. And for the first time in an election cycle, I'm a candidate who is sitting here saying, tell me what your problems are. Help me fix what's bothering you.
Yes.
Instead of having my own selfish agenda, this is we the people, this is our agenda.
Yes. And what you can do, especially if you're a Genesee County or up in Bay City or wherever you're at, if you're in his district, what you can do is you can contact his campaign, contact him.
There's several
you can
buttons on the
invite him
website.
to your house, bring some friends, tell them to bring their checkbooks. It's called a meet and greet. He'll have a meet and greet with you in your home.
Do brats and dogs, because he's already had one of the best burgers.
That's right. You can do brats and dogs and burgers.
No,
and this guy
they can
will
do
come.
brats
If it's a big enough event, I'll smoke the brisket.
There you go.
I'll come and cook for you in your home.
See,
there you go. That's how it works, folks.
How's Paul Young going to do that?
Paul Young doesn't even like to talk to people.
No. So we're trying something different, guys. We're trying to work for you.
Yeah.
We're trying to fight for you. We're trying to serve you. Instead of telling you what you have to do, I want you to tell me what must be done in our district, in Lansing, and across this country so that we can institute the change. I'll leave you with this. Gandhi said it best when he said, if you want to be the change, if you want change, you must be the change you want to see in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of complaining about politics all the time, stand up and be the change. Help me win this district. Help me go to work for you so that we, the people, can be the change we want to see. And we can lead this world by example, not by luxury. It's going to be hard, a lot of work, but we can do it. We're resilient.
Well, if we get people like you getting put in place in elected legally into these different places, we can succeed.
We can start now, because if we wait till tomorrow,
it's too late.
I'll tell you what, Abraham Lincoln said it really well. He said, we the people are the rightful masters of both the Congress and the courts. not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow those who pervert the Constitution.
And we have some heavy.
I got to have a chance to follow that
No,
real
go
quick.
ahead. Yeah.
Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Ronald Reagan
Yes.
said, "We the people are the driver. The government is the car.
Yes.
We tell them where to go,
Yeah.
how fast to get there, and what route to take.
I would really like to do that.
Because we the people are free."
Mhm.
And he went on to say, "Our Constitution is different from any other constitution on the planet because our Constitution says we the people have the right to tell the government what it is allowed to do.
Yeah.
Other constitutions tell the people what they have to do."
That's right.
So we need to remember these words.
Yeah.
We need to get out and register. We need to vote. If you can make a contribution or a donation, please go to Anthony Hudson, 2k24.com. Donate a cup of coffee, $7, $8, it'll go a long way if everybody chips in. And unfortunately, freedom is not free.
Yeah.
So we're going to need the contributions to even have a chance to beat Paul Young, win this district, and start doing what you want us to do.
Nice. Very good. Tony, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Everybody do what Larry and Tony said. I back that up 100%. Get out there, donate, go to the website. You've heard it multiple times tonight. Tim's going to take us out with some important information. I think we're
Tune
good.
in Tuesday night for our regular show.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
Bye.
This is my brain.
Late last week, the news broke that even the special counsel realized that Biden's brain is bad. Of course, everyone that doesn't drool on themselves regularly has known that for ages. But despite that, the media has a long history of dismissing the thought of Biden having an addled mind as a right-wing conspiracy.
That's an issue pushed by right-wing media, but it's not correct.
If you're concerned about Joe Biden's age, you probably don't know Joe Biden.
Biden is actually in good shape.
Right. Mentally, he's quite acute.
Any aide who engages with him or reporters, we can see this. The gears of his mind are working.
The right-wing media has so fixated on Biden and Biden purportedly having cognitive issues.
It's not just making an issue of Biden's age. It's lying. It's saying he's senile. It's saying he's demented. Saying he's out of it.
Oh, well, and now suddenly, like Hunter's laptop from hell, the media's like, oops, it's not a lie after all. It's time to change the tune. And the new White House talking point is that the report claiming Biden's brain is too addled for him to face prosecution, well, that kind of language is
Gratuitous, and I think that was right. There were cheap shots.
I found some of the language in the report a little bit gratuitous.
I think that this special counsel report was gratuitous.
This gratuitous language that he used, gratuitous language about his mental acuity.
This seems like the height of interference. It's gratuitous.
Republicans making hay out of the gratuitous age comments in the report.
This is a little bit, in my view, beyond editorializing. It is gratuitous.
It's funny because I thought it was gratuitous when the media questioned President Trump's mental capacity without any real evidence or a special counsel report just a few years back. And then the media was gratuitous about invoking the 25th Amendment.
We're going to talk about the 25th Amendment and whether we could see it invoked.
Consider the 25th Amendment.
There is the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It's a possible remedy.
Given that the 25th Amendment at the moment is the only thing we have,
it's not unreasonable to say this is 25th Amendment kind of stuff.
The 25th Amendment, which could be used to declare him incapacitated.
The 25th Amendment is very important.
With 25th Amendment talk happening in the Justice Department,
Cabinet should convene immediately to discuss the 25th Amendment.
But they don't want to talk about that anymore all of a sudden. It's rather curious, isn't it? They also don't want to talk about Biden business partner Tony Bobulinski's closed-door testimony to Congress this week. He confirmed that Joe Biden was indeed the brand being pitched in the family's dealings with companies in China and the Ukraine, and that Joe is indeed the big guy referred to in emails getting his cut. So how much time did the big three broadcast networks devote to this groundbreaking testimony on Tuesday evening or their Wednesday morning shows? 0 seconds, none. Well, perhaps they were still recovering from the report on Monday that the consumer price index went up over last month and has consistently always been higher since Biden took office. The media got real creative when trying to put lipstick on this pig. I mean, sure, you're paying more for your groceries, but, there is some good news.
also climbing modestly, up 1.3% from a year ago. But some items that might be on your breakfast table right now are actually lower in price, like cereal down 2.4%, sausage down 1.5%, and coffee, thank goodness, is down 1%.
Just eat cereal and drink coffee. Your budget will be fine. Really, Bidenomics is working great. Don't eat corn pops for cereal, though.
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
The American president is doomed. A little old man can barely move. If he moves too quick, he'll topple just like a domino. He's got that sinister smile and thinks he just might win the bet. But he's just hanging on, dangling like Hunter cigarette. Hunter types with the hookah pipe say, walk like a Joe Biden. And when he boards Air Force One, he spins around and he hits the floor. He's got the moves. He hits the deck, then he hits some more. All the Dems are so sick of Joe, they really would like to see him end. He his pants when he went to the Vatican. All the kids in the DNC say, slide your feet up the street, hump your back, stiffen your arms, don't pull them back. Life's hard, you know, when entering in the Cadillac. If you wanna know where it stops, it ends in dementia and the cops. They sing and dance when finding the confidential docs. Then they arrest all his men while Putin laughs in the Kremlin. And the Chinese know he's owned by them and Ukrainians. All the cops in the DOJ say, walk like a Joe Biden. Walk like a Joe Biden.
This is my brain.
I'm going to go to the browser. Can I show the t-shirt website? Big Frog Brighton is the one who provides these shirts for us. So this is the website. We're going to go a little steampunk with the website for more Tuesday content, but I just wanted to bring you guys this. The apropos for what we're dealing with, the We Do Not Comply t-shirts, $21, either the safety orange or safety green are available right now at $21 a pop. The safety orange comes in a black shirt with orange or green.
Kind of sexy.
Yep, they're tight. I love those. Okay, and then at the top of the page, you can just go back to the safety green. That's where you get the full green shirt. Yeah. Mr. Yuck reminds me of Mr. Yuck. Classic Mr. Yuck. Yeah.
That's
for
awesome.
Poison, and then
Look
your
at that
white
one.
shirt.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
That one's tight. Errol, we bring that up. There we go.
You can wear that on a job site.
Oh
if
yeah,
you're,
and piss people off for not wearing a mask.
Exactly.
And then if you want to like say hello, I'm here. That's a loud orange. So just do that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's full orange.
I like the orange.
The Ready Right Drinky Drink are always my favorite. I wear a purple. I love sand though. I might have to order a sand.
It's
Look at
beautiful.
this sand with the pocket logo. I might have to go with that.
The Ready Right Drinky Drink Show.
Yep.
Ooh,
I love when the ladies do that. And of course, our classic, the classic logo is the steampunk logo we're going to be going with. Comes in the black and the different colors of gray that are available. And then if you want to support our 2A movements, you get the 3 printed 2A.
Oh, there it is. That's a great one
with
right there.
With the sleeve logo,
I
2A
love that gray.
pocket logo, And then
Is that a
the
heather gray?
back. This one's not the heather. Here, let me pull up the heather.
The last one.
The heather is this one. It's a little lighter.
Yeah.
And that little
Oh,
lighter
nice.
gray with the pocket logo in the sleeve. That's that.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Mr. Coffee saying he sold his already for a profit on eBay.
Nice.
Appreciate
Way
that.
to go.
No, he's gonna make it a cottage industry. He
Way
buys
to
it
go.
from us,
No,
and
good
then
job,
he sells
good
them
job.
secondary.
All right, coming back to
This is my brain.
Nope. Yeah, we came back live on the Man Cave shot. As everybody's exiting, we actually were going to wrap the show with that break, and I was on the other computer editing. Just to let you guys know about the T-shirt links and the Twitch link and the email address where we can receive your hate mail and or your support or show ideas, and then of course, as always, the QR codes. Pause the screen there to scan those bad boys, and typically. As typically one does. So that's what we're all going to do. It's a short and sweet one for our Sunday, guys. You guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time. And hopefully my clothes will run when I push the button.
This is my brain.
Dad, that's an egg.
Yeah, that's an egg.
Honey,
Dude.
that's an egg.
Seriously.
That's an egg.
It's a metaphor.
It's still an egg.
That's an egg.
I would challenge you.
That's an egg.
I know my brain is not actually an egg, okay? It's a metaphor.
Metaphor or not, that's not your brain.
It's just an egg.
Una cerveza para mí. My egg is my brain.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon.
I want crepes.
Have some bacon and pancakes with that egg.
I'll take it with cheese.
Extra large brown cage-free eggs.
Can I have your brain with hot cakes?
A sausage and a little toast and potato.
That would be great.
Does it have antibiotics?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
Well, they got to be able to resist some diseases.
You resist the disease.
Does it got any hormones?
Maybe. It's cage free.
Vegetarian?
Maybe.
Are they vegan?
No, I eat steak.
Never apologize and never explain.
Never apologize.
Never apologize and never explain.